Welcome to UNCAGED, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, I'm excited to have Miguel Angel Reyes Riera on the show. Hi, Miguel. How are you?
Hey, man. Happy to see you.
It's great to have you on the show, and it's great to see you, Miguel. Miguel is the CEO of GBO, which has the wonderful tagline of being the Unboring Business Club, a value-added business networking association with the purpose of boosting the evolution of business networking for entrepreneurs, founders, investors, and top-level executives. And he is based in lovely Madrid. Miguel, I'm excited to hear more about what you're working on at GBO. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Sure. Thank you. As you said, I'm Miguel. I'm a Spanish chemical engineer, but I finished my studies kind of 20 years ago, and after a brief period in the industry, in the petrochemical industry in Repsol, I started translating. So even if I'm a chemical engineer, my career path has changed a bit over the time. And
it happens to all of us entrepreneurs, Miguel. So pretty normal. Yeah.
Indeed. What happened to me is that language crossed into my path. I started translating at the beginning, technical stuff, mostly patents, chemical patents, life sciences patents. And when the time came that I didn't have the time to translate everything that my clients want me to, I decided that I should found OneDocument, a translations agency, and I did that back in 2006. And ever since, I've been the CEO of OneDocument, and now we are translating into virtually any language, mostly into any vertical for companies. And 3 years ago, or a bit less, I also became a member of GBO, and 1 year after that, I became the CEO of the company, and that is also now taking most of my time.
So let's talk more about GBO and the evolution of it. So I think it used to be Global Business Owners, if I'm correct, and it sounds like you guys have rebranded and expanded. So tell us about the evolution.
Yeah, we were founded like 3.5 years ago in Mallorca, in Spain. And at the beginning, it was a club like dedicated to business friendships. We wanted, or they wanted at that time, I wasn't part of the founding team, but they wanted to bring sales meetings to something professional. Kind of when we meet for business with our clients or providers, etc., apart from doing business, we are having a good time. So why don't we do that? Why don't we found a club in which we can have business opportunities, find business opportunities, but also find good people, peers with which we can exchange all kind of ideas, experiences, opportunities, etc. So that was the seed of the club. It was at that time called Global Business Owners. And ever since, we have been evolving. So much so with the pandemic recently, because we have always been a club that focuses on presence, on in-person meetings, because we think that meeting a person is getting to know a person and getting to build a trust in a person, which we think is the foundation of any other relationship. So the pandemic, of course, affected us in the way that we were developing business. It basically prevented us from doing business as we were doing. So we included the virtual part into it. And we also took the time to rebrand, to rethink, and to set the pieces on the board for when the pandemic is over. We are let's say, halfway there.
Right.
The pandemic, for example, in Spanish is quite controlled, but that is not
Yeah.
the case, unfortunately, in other places. But as the vaccines rollouts keep progressing, we expect that the situation will more or less normalize, or whatever we want to call to the situation we are driving into. And we are preparing everything. So when the world starts opening up again, we are ready to keep doing what we do best, and that is networking in person.
Got
So
it.
we took the opportunity to get ambassadors in different countries. We are expanding the footprint, the global footprint of GBO, and we will keep doing that over the coming months.
That's great. So I think that puts GBO in a perfect context of how it fits with other networking opportunities. And certainly during the pandemic, it sounds like there was a lot of virtual work, but the core still remains very much focused around in-person networking, in-person experiences. So tell me a little bit about why you think that's so key and what role that's going to play in business going forward and really today. I mean, obviously, we've lived through a period where we haven't been together. And how do you imagine that GBO kind of opens a door for maybe going back a little bit, or perhaps a new way?
Yeah, I guess you experience this as I have, and as many other entrepreneurs have. We often neglect the power of networking, and we often neglect the power of social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
We are animals. We are social animals. We humans, and we need social interaction that has happened for centuries, for millennia. And even if we are in the 21st century and everything seems to be virtual and everything seems to be technological, and we can have a meeting in the morning with someone in Asia and in the afternoon with someone in the US, we shouldn't forget that meeting in person makes us better, makes us grow personally and professionally. And that is where GBO wants to take a major role. We think that we business owners, entrepreneurs, investors, etc., we need to talk to peers. We need to interact. We need to exchange all kinds of experiences of opportunities, learn from each other, and also give to others, because in that process we also learn and gain from the interaction. And that is what we try to bring to the table. We try to organize in-person meetings all over the world, in which we can have that real networking.
Yeah.
Of course.
Miguel, it really resonates with me. I think one of the things that you said when you're describing GBO and the power of the network is that there was a moment during the pandemic where we were all functioning virtually and it was great, but there is such a human element, right? There's such a human element that humans really need to be together. I was able to just experience that a little bit recently with some of my colleagues, where we met a lot of the new colleagues that we'd hired during the last year that we'd only known virtually. And it was so wonderful to finally meet them in person, it created kind of a strange moment where you feel like you know them, but it's the first time you've met them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, it is kind of an anecdote, but it's funny.
Yeah.
That to me, the most striking moment when I meet someone that I have met for years virtually is their height. It's like,
yes.
Yeah, are they tall? Are they short?
Yes.
So when you see them, you kind of have that idea in your mind, and then you see, wow, this guy is so tall, or she is so short, or whatever. And that is just an anecdote, but it brings the human touch to it. You finally establish a bond. We don't just talk with our voices and our mouths. We talk with our bodies. We talk with our facial expressions, with our movements, with everything. So it's bringing a relationship to a new level, and that level is also the one in which, in my opinion, you build trust. You start building trust when you shake hands or hug each other or bump fists or whatever, and then you start building a relationship.
Yeah, I completely understand. And it's a great description of the benefit. So let's change gears a little bit and talk about this moment we've been living through. Certainly, I think the pandemic hit your home country heavily early on, but certainly improved dramatically. But the pandemic is still with us. How are you guys coping? And some of these things that you've been working on digitally, how has that been intertwined with this in-person world that you're aiming to rebuild?
Yeah, as you said, unfortunately, we are still living through the pandemic. In Spain, we are lucky that our vaccination is quite advanced and we are more or less out of it, touch wood. But unfortunately, the world is not like that. Many other countries are still struggling and have many issues with the vaccines and with the situation. So we are very conscious about that. And as you said, we have to fight through it and we have to find our way through it. What we did in GBO is realizing that, of course, in person is important and it's key, but it is not always possible. We have to be ready for pandemics, and we also have to foster international interaction. And one of the key benefits of technology is that it brings us together. As I said, we can meet people from around the globe in the same day without having to leave our offices or on the go on our phones. So we have to tap into that power. And that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to build an online community and online and virtual services that complement all the in-person meetings that we organize. So therefore, we want to bring as much value to our members as possible. And we think that the combination of the virtual world, international interaction, and in-person local meetings is a perfect combination for our growth.
Yeah, I like that. So providing the members various support services that can enhance what they're doing, and certainly offering them opportunities to connect virtually whilst managing this bridge to the in-person world again. So I imagine, Miguel, your hope is like all of us, that we return to a world where you and I can meet for a cerveza and a tapas in Madrid at some point. But tell me a little bit more about how GBO is going to be evolving in your mind over the next couple of years.
As I said briefly before, our main target is to bring value to our members. And that is what we are doing. That is our obsession. We keep looking for partnerships, as for example, with Canary, and bringing new value to our members, offering them new tools, offering them new opportunities, offering them ways to learn, ways to improve their online presence, ways to improve the way they communicate with others, etc., etc. And that is what keeps us busy. We will keep trying to bring as much value as we can to our members. And one of the key things that we are doing is, as I said, building partnerships with other companies that bring value to the community.
That's great. And so, Miguel, I love, as I said, the tagline, the Unboring Business Club. If someone wanted to learn more about what GBO and you are building, where should they find you? Where should they get in touch with you?
It's easy. It's our name, GBO.international. And that's it. That's our website. And there they can find all the info, full info. They can also reach out to us through the contact forms, book an introduction meeting in which we will explain and walk them through all the benefits and what GBO is. And most of all, they will discover why we are onboarding. We are onboarding because we want to walk away from that idea that networking in business is going to a place in which you are the target of everyone, just trying to sell something to you, just talking about themselves, trying to pitch their company, to give you their business cards and just walk away to the next guest to try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We loathe that. That is good if you want to do that and want to go to a business club where you are respecting that and you are going to do that, that's okay. But if you just want to network, to meet people, and to find a way that will help you grow personally and professionally, you have to know GBO and have an onboarding networking opportunity and experience.
I really love it. And I think you have a great positioning in the marketplace, and certainly for entrepreneurs, founders, investors, and even top level executives, this is the type of thing they need. Miguel, thank you so much for being on UNCAGED today. We've been speaking with Miguel Angel Reyes Riera. He is the CEO of GBO, the Unboring Business Club, a value-added business networking association with the purpose of boosting the evolution of business networking for entrepreneurs, founders, investors, and top-level executives. And he's been telling us a little bit about how GBO, which really focuses on amazing connections that you have in the real world, made some pivots and evolutions during the last year with the pandemic, and is mapping out a plan for us to hopefully return as soon as possible to in-person experiences. So Miguel, thank you so much for being on the show today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you to you, Ben, and the Canary team, and I look forward to those beers.
Cheers. Gracias.
Adios.